This video is brought to you by Loot Crate. Head today to lootcrate.com/reviewtechusa and enter the code RTU to save 10% on any subscription plan. Skip it up and that up. So Fez creator Phil Fish decided to go on Twitter yesterday now and express how he feels about Let's Players using gameplay footage in their videos. And he did so in a way that only Phil Fish could. It was a train wreck. Let's go on a journey, shall we? I'll read you what he said. Oh boy. YouTubers should have to pay out a huge portion of their revenue to the developers from which they steal all their content. Ad revenue should be shared with developers. This should be built into YouTube. Anything else is basically piracy. Then, unfortunately, this man who is terrible with words continues on Twitter. If you generate money from putting my content on your channel, you owe me money. Simple as that. If you buy a movie, are you then allowed to stream the entirety of it publicly for people to watch for free? No, because that's illegal. Systems are in place to prevent that. But buy Fez, put all of it on YouTube, turn on ads, make money from it, and that's totally fine. And the developer should in no way be compensated for their work being freely distributed to the world, right? Makes sense. So I'm going to be looking down at his Twitter quotes here, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on each thing that he said. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start off with my whole take on using video game content. I'm not totally against developers and publishers when they feel the same way Phil Fish does, okay? Especially when it's a story-driven game. When a Let's Player puts up the entire game, and a lot of times they don't even commentate over them. They just put up the raw footage, and it's a story-driven game that many people may buy simply to, like, say it's a trilogy to find out the conclusion. It does hurt it, okay? So I could see why developers get pissed off at that. I can also see developers wanting a cut of revenue, not a huge cut like he's saying here, wanting a cut of revenue when, again, you're just putting up gameplay. You're not commentating over it. You're not reviewing it. You're just putting up random snippets of gameplay with just raw. That I could see them, wanting some money from it or wanting the footage not up there. I can understand that to a point, okay? And for everyone saying that I'm going to go against Phil Fish here on certain aspects because, I do what I do on YouTube, I don't really use gameplay footage that much anymore, so it doesn't really affect me. Anyway. So the first thing he says, let's get into that. YouTubers should have to pay a huge portion of their revenue to the developers from which they steal all their content. First off, Phil, you kind of compared, I'm going to bring this up again because you say something later in your tweets here. They're not stealing anything. They're not stealing their content. A video game I keep on using this controller here, excuse me as I move my glasses. A video game to actually have the full product, you need to play it. People putting up gameplay footage, again, not saying the whole game where it's a story-driven game, but people putting up gameplay footage really is doing nothing but advertising the game for the developer. When I used to do my news commentaries with gameplay footage, you know how many times, this is a fact, because I know my subscribers came to me. They would say, "Hey Rich, you put up that random gameplay footage, you put it," because I used to put the in the top right corner, I used to put what game I was playing. People used to buy the games just from watching my footage. So jackass, Phil, maybe people would buy Fez. I know that I'm sure they have bought Fez from seeing the gameplay. So you're kind of biting the hand that feeds you, especially since you're a fucking weirdo. And even if you make Fez 2 or another good game, people hate you so much, I don't think they're going to buy it. So you may want to shut the fuck up and let them use Fez footage. Just a little pro tip for you. What else did he say here? Ad revenue should be shared with developers. This should be built into YouTube. Anything else is basically piracy. First off, here's the thing. Say, for example, Phil, I did a full journalistic review of Fez, and there was some automated system to give you money. I would be knocking on your door to tell you to go fuck yourself and give it back to me, because that's considered fair use. I'm not just putting up raw gameplay footage. I'm doing a review, which is the epitome of fair use. So if there was some system to give you money automatically, even for a review, screw you. Ain't happening, pal. So your whole system would just fail instantly right there. If you generate money from putting my content on your channel, you owe me money. Simple as that. No, I don't. If I do a review or I'm doing a commentary, a partial commentary, I don't owe you a fucking dime. I don't owe you anything. Like, did you just, like, do you think before you talk, or is there like some kind of mental thing in your brain that you just type things and don't think them out? If you buy a movie, are you then allowed to stream? This goes into what I was saying before. If you buy a movie, are you then allowed to stream the entirety of it publicly for free for people for free to watch? No, because that's illegal. You can't compare a movie to a video game, dude. You can't. I like, for example, Mortal Kombat 10 comes out. Am I just going to watch matches online and be like, oh, I don't need to buy the game because I watched matches? No, the product is the gameplay. If you don't have this, watching matches on YouTube is not going to make me not want to buy a game like that. Come on. Like, think. Phil, think. Maybe you wouldn't have gotten so much hate that you had to shut down your Twitter account. He goes into the systems are in place to prevent movies from, being uploaded in full. You couldn't have this for gameplay, Phil. It technically shouldn't be in place for certain aspects. When someone reviews a movie, again, that's considered fair use. The system, the content ID system's broken. You want to break it even more? And the last thing he says, and the developer, he was saying this sarcastically, and the developer in no way should be compensated for their work being freely distributed to the world, right? Makes sense. Phil, you have no idea. Why do you think like Activision and Ubisoft and Deep Silver want to work with YouTubers? Why do you think that they like people, they love like PewDiePie? Because it's free advertisement. They're not stealing anything from you. Again, the full work is when the full product is you having to have the controller in your hand. I know from my channel, which is a piss compared to other piss in a giant ocean compared to other channels, people say that because I put up gameplay, they bought games. It's not the same thing as a movie. There's the few exceptions, like I said, when there's straight up Let's Plays with no commentary that are with story-driven games, that'll give you. But other things, other games where people are just using random gameplay footage, it's basically known as a fact to be free advertisement. Like I said, I know firsthand for that to be true. If you don't get this, especially as an indie developer, you're a fucking idiot, dude. I'm glad you shut your account down. I don't like you at all. I hope you never make another video game, and I hope you just go fucking hide under a rock somewhere and stay irrelevant. This is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. And Phil, please shut the fuck up. Have a good one.